This is going to seem quite like a nice intermingling between main channel content and my secondary channel content. Now, we're going to have classical advice for, well, inevitable problems, okay? How to maintain a sharp mind and a sharp physique in your advanced years, okay? Stuff that has worked since the 1700s, okay, with just a few alterations along the way. So what were Jefferson, Adams, Benjamin Franklin doing other than Benny throwing up gang signs? What were they doing to, have the mental faculties to be creating the greatest nation on earth, even though it's going through a rough time right now in their middle and older ages? Let's take a look. Staying sharp in old age. Lessons from 3 founding fathers. Those of us who are entering old age frequently read books or online articles about the way to enhance our mental ability, to keep our minds nimble and quick. I'm only 31, so you know what? Hey, we'll disseminate this information to an older audience. Or somebody, maybe. I don't know. Some people follow special diets, believing that certain foods or supplemental vitamins can strengthen our power of reason and thought. Others exercise at the gym and take long walks through their neighborhoods as a means to keep the lights burning in the proverbial attic. Some experts tell us to keep playing cards, board games, even though that there's no scientific evidence to back that claim up whatsoever. A few of the other elderly people I've known that communication, conversations with family and friends, reading, writing letters and emails contributes to the care and preservation of the mind. That one's at least supported by the science. Other men and women who find that work helps keep them young. Clint Eastwood, yes. I didn't know he directed this, but he starred in and directed Cry Macho, which looks really good, and I don't know if I'll get around to watching that, but if anybody else out there goes and sees that, let me know, because read a couple of reviews and it looks really decent. And an 87-year-old woman who works at a laundromat in my author's town, Jeff Minnick, still going strong. Ellen Hooven Santmeyer was 80 years old when she finished writing her 1,184-page best-selling novel, And Ladies of the Club. And Michelangelo was still creating art at the age of 88. And 3 of our founding fathers, not mine, I'm Canadian, obviously, but you know what, hey, you know what I mean. Benjamin Franklin, John Adams, and Thomas Jefferson all lived and worked to a ripe old age. What did they do exactly? Well, diet and drink. This could take a couple of interesting turns. Let's see. Among his contemporaries, Thomas Jefferson was well known to be an advocacy of eating little meat and a great many vegetables. It was pretty good mix. 2 years before Jefferson's death, Daniel Webster dined at the table and later wrote he enjoyed his meals well, taking with his meat a large portion of vegetables. He has strong preference for the wines of the continent of many of the sorts of excellent quality. Webster was correct about Jefferson's love of wine. As president, for instance, he ordered 20,000 bottles of wine from Europe for his personal collection. Nothing weird about that whatsoever, hey? Anyways, in Benjamin Franklin's A Founding Foodie, yes, Franklin coined the phrase, an apple a day keeps the doctor away. He sometimes practiced vegetarianism, interesting, and while in London, he was delighted to learn about soybeans and tofu. Ew. Though not as heavy a drinker as many of his contemporaries, Franklin once described wine as a constant proof that God loves us and loves to see us happy. John Adams stuck to traditional New England diet of humble foods, often boiled, that sucks, and typically kicked off his day with a glass of hard cider, followed in the evening by several glasses of Madeira. These men were eating processed foods, and all were careful to select healthy fare for their meals. Might those dietary restraints partially explain their mental acuity in their old age? I would say so. They could at least pronounce everything that was in what they were consuming. Exercising the body. Yeah, people in the 1700s, they were fairly active because they had to be. After serving as president, John Adams returned to the farm in Massachusetts, and he directed workers in the barns and the fields. We need to get into specifics of the workers he had around the farms and the fields. Sometimes pitched in alongside them. Franklin, a swimmer in his youth, is the only founding father in the swimming Hall of Fame, and was an outspoken advocate to exercise his entire life. He walked and lifted weights, sweet into his old age, declaring no gains without pains. Hear that, Arnie? even when such exercise left him sore and fatigued, and he still got his lifts in. I'm starting to appreciate Ben Franklin a little bit more. I'll forgive you for that tofu and soybeans aside. Okay. Jefferson wrote, no less than 2 hours a day should be devoted to exercise. Awesome. Great. And the weather should be little regard. All right. That's the best take so far. On another occasion, he noted that leaving all afternoon for exercise and recreation, which are as necessary as reading, I will rather say more necessary, because health is worth more than learning. Exactly. Name anything you can do other than just take up space when you're dead. Exactly. These gentlemen all understood the interplay between physical and mental health and aging. Keeping the mind sharp. Most readers can collect the greatest accomplishments of these three men. Adams was a leader in the American Revolution and our second president. Jefferson was a chief architect of the Declaration of Independence and followed Adams into the White House. Like Jefferson, Franklin was a Renaissance man, an inventor, a diplomat, and the creator of public libraries and fire departments. And was not a president. I know, right? What we know, or what we may not know, is that these three men continued their work and achievements late into life. Thomas Jefferson founded the University of Virginia in 1819 when he was in his 70s. Okay, these guys were in the 1700s, living well into their 70s and 80s. After serving as president, John Adams spent a good deal of time writing pamphlets, books, and letters, and a correspondence with more than 100 letters to Jefferson. Once they renewed their broken friendship. Yeah, the election around Thomas Jefferson's time was a little bit contentious, but a topic for the main channel. Anyways, just a few years before his death, Benjamin Franklin served as president of the Supreme Executive Council of Pennsylvania, the equivalent of a governor, and even attended the Constitutional Convention that met in Philadelphia in 1787. Moreover, all three men had a lifelong passion for books and reading. To the time of their death, both Adams and Franklin had collected more than 3,000 volumes in their personal libraries. Wow, that's awesome. They often spoke to others of what they were reading, subjects that ran from fiction to biographies and histories. I cannot live without books, Jefferson wrote to Adams in 1815, the letter in which was reference to his sale of his collection of 6,500 books to the U.S. government to replace the library in the Capitol building after the British had burned it, and 4 years before the Canadians burnt it. Jefferson continued to collect books in his later years, such authors as Tacitus, Homer, and Shakespeare. And then just little tidbits of good advice. John Adams once stated, "Old minds are like old horses. You must exercise them if you wish to keep them in good working order." Exactly. All three of these historical figures followed that wise counsel. Despite their advanced ages, they lived approximately 25 to 30 years longer than the average male of the time. Diet, exercise, work, and reading kept them alert and mentally acute in their final days. By example, they teach older people like me, Jeff, I guess. You can see by his little picture down there, kind of has like a little James Garner 8 Simple Rules look to him. That our minds stay young when they remain engaged. And just in case any younger readers may have made their way through my article, here's a bit of humorous advice from Ben Franklin. Many people die at 25 and they aren't buried until they're 75. Yep, some people just exist. Okay, don't accomplish anything, don't add to anything, don't contribute anything, and I don't know, I'm trying to do my fair share and make this place a better one than I found it to begin with, and it seems tough sometimes, and it seems like I'm just talking into the empty void most days, but helps me out. Hopefully it helps you out, and hopefully we can do this again tomorrow. Thank you all very much for the gift of your time. I've been Don Consuelo. I want you to follow your gut and get after it. Take care, everyone.